Hey guys, and welcome to Hogerman and Mr. Womble's review of Under the Lake and Before the Flood from Series 9 of Doctor Who. Do you want to start? Or...
I'm
Oh, wait, this will contain spoilers. There we go.
alright. Straight off from episode 1 of this series. We're also going to do this at the end of each serial. We'll do the episode, do the review.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to do it now, isn't it?
Yeah, it just means instead of spending... we can get through a lot of things quicker because we know the whole outcome of the story.
Mm-hmm.
Straight off, the minute, you saw the Doctor as a ghost, I was like, he's in the fucking...
Oh yeah, he's in the coffin, yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
It was annoyingly obvious.
It was, yeah. But having said that, the dramatic build throughout that part one, it had a great build, and I think having that cliffhanger ending, I mean, if someone who's not watched Doctor Who before watches that episode for the first time, they will have... I think that's probably better than the season beginning in that respect, because it shows how the show can build and how it brings tension, and the music towards the end of that reveal where the Doctor walks out as the ghost, you're just thinking, oh wow, that's cool. But yeah, no, it is obvious that he's not dead. It's called Doctor Who. That's the show you're watching, and it's
not the end of the series.
Yeah, it's kind of obvious that
it's not Clyde Baker.
Yeah, it is kind of obvious that he's in the coffin, and anyone who watches Doctor Who is going to know that that's where he is, and that's how he's going to get out of it.
I also liked when they appeared at the beginning of the episode. He showed the psychic paper.
Yes, yeah, I know, and I had wrote that off. I thought that they weren't going to bring that back at all, but they did. They brought it back, which is kind of cool. I like that. I like little throwbacks. And I really do hope that they bring back the screwdriver, but we'll see.
I don't like the glasses.
No, I don't either. They're a bit cheesy. It's. I have this feel, and for the, I don't know if you noticed, for the Before the Flood beginning, they had like this really cool rock and roll intro that was all played on electric guitar, and I've got this feeling they're trying to aim the show to teenagers instead of like say 7 to 10-year-olds sort of thing. They're trying to up the game and get all the fans of Matt Smith who were 7 and 10 when that came out, and it was very more child orientated, and they're trying to focus it still on them to keep them interested and involved. So they're trying to...
I still think they're trying to make the Doctor just David Bowie.
yeah.
Because I saw he did a recent interview and he said, I'd love David Bowie to be a guest star.
That would be cool.
Because they've had many references to Bowie before. The Water of Mars.
Yes, yep.
Bowie bass.
Bowie bass
Matt
one.
Smith's The End of Time, when he had the kind of mullet thing and the eye patch. That was supposedly a throw to Bowie as well.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I hadn't seen that, but yeah, no, I can see where you'd think that would be a Bowie throwback. But yeah, no, they're trying to make Doctor Who more rock and roll, and this Doctor in particular.
Hip. Even though he's the oldest Doctor, he's 56.
Yeah, exactly. He is the oldest Doctor, but he's probably the coolest Doctor, I think. Like, in the past, the Doctors have all been nerdy and knowledgeable, and scientists, like basic nerds and geeks and things like that. Like, especially like David Tennant, he would go on and on and on, like all the science and stuff, and then he'll say something, and then everyone like looks at him and just like, yep, okay, he's too clever. We don't understand what a word he's saying. But whereas with Capaldi's Doctor, it feels very much like they're trying to create a brand new Doctor, which is great because that's the whole point of the show. So,
I like that to begin. I really hope it was the first episode in this. When someone's died, I was trying to think of the word serial, where Clara takes the cards out.
Yes, yeah. Well, actually, there's a great build-up to that because they're all in this enclosed room. It feels very claustrophobic. The Doctor's just got there. Nobody knows the Doctor there. Nobody knows Clara. They're both strangers, and then they sort of introduce themselves, and then I think someone said, "Wait, you're the Doctor," and then he's like, he's adding things up, and it's like it feels like a proper mystery solving episode. So he's adding things up, and then and again I'm going to relate back to the music because Murray Gold has gone beyond himself with the soundtrack for these two episodes, I think. And the music builds up. Then Peter Capaldi just goes, "They're ghosts," and then and then he just goes really like happy and weird, and then it all stops, and then there's silence. And if you listen back to the track, it's complete silence, and the music is just level flat. And then they do the card thing, and it's a great way to get humour into like these really tense moments. And the exact thing they said on the cards, because I wrote it down, was, "I'm very sorry for your loss. I'll do all I can to solve the death of your friend, family member / pet." Which I laughed so much with
They
that.
were in Glasgow. The town was based in Glasgow, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah, that's
They
right.
didn't make a single Scottish joke.
No, they didn't. No, I noticed that as well.
Of in the last episode, you're like, you don't want to go Scottish. And they don't make a single Scottish joke. They missed a bit there. But the episode it's great because it's like a mystery. And I love from the bit, he was like, yeah, the ghosts, they can only touch smell. Oh, I didn't even notice. I noticed that. Huh.
Yeah, they can only touch metal. Yeah, I like that as well. And then when you come on to part 2, when you actually see the Fisherkin, wow, he's massive! And Peter Capaldi was looking up at that encounter the whole time. And do you know they use one of the actors for the Fisher King that they use for the White Walkers in Game of Thrones? So he's like, with the whole costume and everything, that he was supposedly like 8 foot, I think, which is
Pretty
ridiculous. Yeah, that's pretty tall. And it wasn't just the fact that they were using his size. He was like doing this performance, and that was his own voice. That was the actor's voice that they used, which I just, I was like...
I thought
amazing.
the Fisher King was voiced by Darth Maul.
I don't know. It might have been, actually. I might be wrong.
And I know the scream was from the singer of Slipknot.
Oh, right. Yeah, no, you said that last time, didn't you? I think that they were going to use Darth Maul and Slipknot.
Well,
But either way, it was an
Peter-
impressive performance.
Yeah, yeah, the guy from
Peter
Shaun the
Peter
Dead
Sellers.
and all that.
Yeah.
Darth Maul.
I didn't know that. That's impressive. But it was either way. It was a really great performance, and it was a very menacing, scary, standing over performance. And I think it's the first Doctor Who villain that has really been able to stand over the Doctor in a physical sense.
Well, the silence was slightly taller than the Doctor,
Yeah.
but this guy was pretty impressive.
This one, yeah. Like, the silence were menacing because you couldn't remember who they were. This one was menacing just because he was a massive brute, and everything, like all of his movements were designed on him being huge, him being just massive. So
What did you think of the deaf character and the deaf joke they played with Clara calling her name?
remind me again?
Well, I can't remember her name in the show. Deaf character.
Oh, right. Oh, sorry. I can't tell what the fucking word you're saying sometimes.
Deaf.
With the signing, yeah. Well, I personally, someone who knows British Sign Language and does all that sort of thing, and I love that, and I love the fact that they managed to get that actually into a show.
But did you think it was really necessary?
Well, the thing is, they took a disabled person, put them in a line of power or authority, and didn't really mention the fact that they had a disability. And I commend movie makers and TV for that.
I'd say that whole thing came over because they had a joke of Clara going, would it let's call it Callisto. I'm an idiot. And for calling the girl's name known and forgetting she's deaf,
Yeah,
I'd say it was all through a joke they came up with.
no, I don't think that at all. I think I can't remember the name of the writer. It was Toby. I think it's Toby Whitehouse that did this. Toby Whitehouse does a lot of very controversial stories. If you look back through his catalogue, and I think he's generally thought, right. Let's make this cast a little bit more diverse and more interesting. I know what. Let's cast a deaf character.
It was quite diverse.
Yeah, exactly. And
You had a Scottish girl, a guy with glasses. That's very diverse these days. Very diverse.
well, yeah.
I just thought the guy. I'm jumping all over the ending of it. The last guy who went in the past with the glasses. I wish I knew and wrote down these characters' names.
Yeah, I can't remember them.
The doctor said, I'll take the message out of you later. And he's like, he takes his glasses off and he's like, tell her you love her. I have such a feeling that he's going to be somehow involved with being a bad guy at the end of it. He lost his love, so he hates the doctor. I just got that feeling. It's something, because like, he just seems like he looks and he acts, he seems like such a great evil character. Even though he's playing a nice guy, but it was such a good thing.
Yeah, he did have a twist, and I was really impressed with that.
Menacing.
Yeah, it was a very I kind of like that, turning a good guy into a bad guy, and that is something the Doctor does scarily well. As for the deaf one, I think her name was Cass. I can't remember who the guy was who...
yeah, Cass sounds really, really funny.
Yeah, I can't remember who the guy was.
O'Donnell.
Signing. O'Donnell was the one who died, which I liked. The reason why I liked going back to the Doctor as the ghost, the reason why I do actually like that is because you know the Doctor's not going to die, so that gives you hope for the other characters that have died, that they're going to come back in some way.
I never think that. I always just presume they're going to die.
Yeah, well, no. So do I. You sort of I can't remember the first one who died.
It was the government guy.
Yeah. The one that everyone wanted to die right at the beginning. He gets blown out into the airlock for water or whatever, and he dies. But actually, if you think about it, the Doctor comes back as a ghost. He's came back as a ghost. So, can the Doctor in some way save those people's lives? And that was the whole premise of the 2 episodes, was the bootstrap paradox, where he's witnessed something happening. It's got to happen. It doesn't matter. That's got to happen now because he knows it's going to happen.
Yeah, and Clara should have... they could have done a whole different thing if she doesn't tell she's seen his ghost.
Yeah, they could have done that, and I think most companions would have. But Clara is becoming... I would actually say Clara now is becoming another Doctor, and I think that's where her storyline is going to end. She's going to become like this ultra... Not a Donna Doctor or anything like that, but I think she's going to become her own identity in her own rights and not a companion anymore. If anything, I would say the Doctor's going to become the companion of Clara at some point. I think that's where she's heading, because if you look at what her character's been through, she's died a numerous amounts of times, and that's not phased her. But what did phase her was I can't remember his name. PE dying. I can't remember his name.
Mr. Pink.
Yeah, Mr. Danny Pink. Danny Pink. It's Rupert. That was his child's name. Danny Pink died, and that did change him. And she pushed the Doctor away. But then they got back together, and now she's not being fazed by that again. So I think the only way that her storyline is going to progress is if she becomes more authoritative and more in charge. And she has that trait. They've set that in the past with the whole needy sort of. Oh, I can't remember how they phrase it in Series 8 and the end of Series 7. that she was like a control freak. So I think that that's how her story is going to sort of go in this series, and how she's going to exit the show, because we know she's going to exit the show. Yeah. And it was Toby Whitehouse that wrote this.
Yeah, I
this
checked
serial.
that out. I like the whole show. The whole 2 episodes were good. The Fisher King was quite big. One thing that I liked with the start of the second episode, talking about, I didn't even know that was called a bootstrap paradox. I didn't know
Yeah,
that
the
was
bootstrap paradox. Yeah.
I didn't realize that was the proper name of it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they've ever done that on Doctor Who before. Something like that.
They have, well, they've done the bootstrap paradox before, but they've never explained it directly to the audience. And I don't think a doctor has ever spoken directly to the camera. So that was a completely unique way of starting before the flood.
Wall.
They have done the bootstrap paradox in episodes before, though. And if you think back, the Angels of Manhattan is probably the biggest one I can think of, where the Doctor reads Amy's farewell. So he then knows that Amy is going to leave the Doctor. Nothing he can do can change that. It's going to happen. And also, River wrote that down in a book, but she didn't really write that down because it was already in the book that the Doctor had. So River's gone back in time, taken that book, and then published it. So who actually wrote those words? That was the idea, but they've never actually gone through that depth and actually explained it before. But they have had that principle in a lot of Doctor Who episodes.
It's kind of treating the audience with, with not hand feeding it, explaining the idea of it with a very simple Beethoven, and then the Doctor doing dun 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 dun.
Yes, that is true.
Treating the audience not as idiots but as like equals, where they sometimes, ignore, because they are probably looking for a different demographic.
Yeah, I didn't actually like that start. I don't like breaking the fourth wall with Doctor Who because they've done it in minisodes before, but they've never actually done it in the actual episodes. And it just loses that little bit of magic, I think, with Doctor Who. But that's a personal opinion, and I can see how they're trying to... They're not changing the demographic. They're trying to keep up with the demographic that is aging of the kids who like Matt Smith, and they're trying to keep that audience while still capturing new ones.
I would have said more teenagers and young adults watch Doctor Who than kids these days, especially the content they've been pushing out the last few years.
Yeah, with Series 8, that is, I think, what happened. However, the Matt Smith ones, most of the stories, they involve a lot of adult themes, but the way that Matt Smith goes about it, he is like a child, and I think that that it is a child's show, and that's what you've got. Sometimes it's very difficult to get your head around that Doctor Who is a child's show, but with Matt Smith, I think it was more of a child's show than it had been in a very, very long time, since the reboot, actually. Because Christopher Eccleston's Doctor, he was I would say he was more of an adult's Doctor. David Tennant was this one that went for sort of the fangirly fangirls. All the girls thought he was cute, in the suit and everything. He appealed to the mums, and so that was their demographic. Then it completely changed when Matt Smith came in, because the whole show changed and everything rewrote. But it's still Moffat, so he's still trying to keep that same audience. But the audience is getting older, because it's 5 years since he started. So that 10-year-old that watched Matt Smith, they're now 15. They're a grungy teenager that hates life and has gone through that journey with Doctor Who. And when I started Doctor Who, when it first started with Christopher Eccleston, I was 14, 15.
I was 15.
And I think I was 14. And I hated life, and I was a grungy teenager. So, and that dark theme, that is what brought me into Doctor Who, and that's why I still like Doctor Who.
Throne, your last thoughts about the trailer for the next serial.
I've only seen it once. Again, more Game of Thrones references with what's it, Stark in there.
Mia Watson or Mia Watson.
Yeah, that's her name. I can't remember. I haven't actually seen the series 5 of Game of Thrones, just in case you're going to spoil it for me. So
well, just don't read the comments if people spoil it on you.
and
It's called The Girl Who Died and the Woman Who Lived.
Yeah. Are those the next episodes then?
Yeah.
The Girl Who Died and the Woman Who Lived. So that's the next serial. I don't know much about them. I think the writers are different for the two serials, if I remember, for these ones.
Stephen Moffat's writing. His co-writer on the first one, and then two completely different writers.
Okay.
I think it's the first time they wrote. Yeah.
Well, that's something I remember reading. So I remember the first one was Moffat, then it was Whitehouse, and then it was like a weird mix of writers for the next few serials, which actually is how they did it back at classic Doctor Who. If you look at the serials, they weren't all the same writers. But yeah, the Vikings are in it, which is interesting because I don't think we've ever had the Vikings in Doctor Who before, which is weird when it's 60 years and plus of Doctor Who and you've
50.
never had the Vikings. 50, sorry, yeah. That could have been a massive insult to my mum then, because she's the same age as Doctor Who.
Yeah, I when they announced Peter Petrelli as the new Doctor, I was like, my God, he's older than my dad. And then I had to Google it and goes, he is older than my dad.
Yeah.
But I think with that, we'll close it up here.
Yeah.
I've been How the Man That Say Jules the Man.
I've been Mr. Womble.
Till next time. Take care. Goodbye. See ya.